God has given us one more good year. Let us use it well. Bishop Lee's words convey a kind of compelling urgency about the gospel of Jesus Christ that is something that we do not always hear today. One day the harvest will come. The steward will return to his fields and will ask the laborers to give an account of how we have used the gifts that God has given us. God has given us one more good year. Let us use it well. Now, I felt a special kinship with Bishop Lee over these last months. As you know, in July, we moved the bishop's office to a new location in Brandywine 100. Thanks to the St. Albans congregation for so generously making their facilities available for this good use. Thanks to the bishop's staff for much hard work, creativity, and patience as we've made this move. And thanks to you all for your support. The new office is useful and attractive, affordable, and a good solution for the needs of today's church. Now, Bishop Lee actually never had an office. He worked out of his home on 16th and Orange Street in old downtown Wilmington. The painting, which you see in front of you, painted by Stanley Arthurs, the well-known Delaware artist, is a painting of the old bishop's residence, with Bishop Lee standing out in front of it, was one of his daughters. There was next to the residence a personal chapel for the bishop's use. You can see it in the painting, the small brick building. Eventually, the old house was sold and torn down. It's where the Hercules building is today in downtown Wilmington. The chapel was moved, and eventually the chapel was sold, and its contents were put in storage. Well, in our new office, we have the space to put them back on display after many years. Mary Ann Brillhart's husband, Steve, did a wonderful job of restoring and installing these sacred reminders of our long history and ministry. Every time that I look at the altar and the bishop's staff and the chair, I'm reminded of Bishop Lee's insistent call in Christ. God has given us one more good year. Let us use it well. This is why I'm also pleased to inaugurate this year our new companion relationship with the Diocese of Mexico. Besides serving our diocese, Bishop Lee was a relentless traveler and missionary. In 1867, he became the first Episcopal bishop to visit Mexico. There, he ordained the first priests and deacons to serve in their church. And today, the Anglican Church in Mexico looks to Bishop Lee as their founder. By establishing this link, we're renewing a very old and almost forgotten friendship. Thanks to the Companion Relationship Committee for all that they have done to make this possible. Thanks to all who are bringing this relationship to life by extending hospitality to our new friends, welcoming them in person and in prayer. Later in this convention, we'll be sending greetings to Bishop Carlos Touche Porter and his diocese as we announce and inaugurate this new relationship. A few years ago, we took an in-depth, grassroots strategic study of our diocese. It took almost a year to complete. And from this study came a renewed commitment to work together as partners with congregations to strengthen our common ministry here in Delaware. And honestly, it could not have come at a better time. No one could have anticipated how deeply the economic recession would affect our state, its communities, its institutions, and its families. But with patience, commitment, generosity, and much hard work, we have weathered the storm, and we have done it faithfully and well. As I travel across the diocese, I am seeing many positive signs of good things that are happening. And while I'll share a few examples with you this afternoon, I want you to keep in mind that there are many, many other good stories to tell. Many others. As you know, in Brandywine 100, 3 northern Delaware churches concluded that it no longer made sense to keep doing things the same way. Like St. Luke's in Seaford, these churches applied to diocesan council for a study grant. And working with their interim clergy and an experienced church development consultant, they have come together to form the Brandywine Consultant Collaborative Ministry. You have met their new team leader, Ketlin Solak. This innovative approach allows churches to share resources and work together in an effective and affordable way. And interestingly, several other dioceses have already been in touch to ask us how we have done it. We welcome Ketlin, and we really appreciate the innovation, the courage, and the faithfulness of those churches and their leaders. St. Luke's Seaford has not been immune to the challenges facing their community. For many years, Seaford was the home to the world's largest nylon plant. As that business declined, the town itself declined, as is natural and to be expected. 3 years ago, St. Luke's was at a crossroads. They decided that we do not want our church to die. They applied to the council for a training grant and worked with experienced consultants to strengthen and develop their lay leadership of their church. This is a faithful, practical approach that works well for a congregation of their size and in their setting. Today at St. Luke's, and I can tell you I was there just a few weeks ago, the spirits are high and the congregation is in a season of renewal. We are happy to welcome Mary Ann L., their new pastor, and express our thanks for them for their vision and commitment to renewal and faithfulness in their town. Thank you. This past year, 3 of our Newcastle County congregations, Christ Church, Delaware City, St. James Newport, and St. Nicholas Newark, requested a grant from the council to underwrite a joint study program. It was so successful that they're already saying we've always done it that way. And we'll be repeating it again this year. Congratulations on this new cooperative ministry between 3 of our churches. As we look out into the coming year, a group of young adults have developed a unique weekend retreat program that will be sponsored and hosted at Camp Arrowhead. They've invited young adults from neighboring dioceses and states to join them for the weekend. The program is entitled Telling Our Own Stories in Our Own Words. Again, their vision was supported by a grant from the council. We also received a preliminary proposal to develop regional lay pastoral ministry program. This could be interesting, something to think about with hope. Now, each of these seeds was sown at the grassroots and developed with our support and encouragement. And my guess is that there are many other opportunities out there waiting to be developed. That's my guess and my hope. And this is my invitation to you. We look forward to hearing from you, your ideas, thoughts, and hopes for the future. And you will find an interested and willing partner in us. This has also been a very good year for calling new clergy into our diocese. Our comparatively small size really does give us an advantage in this area. It really does. The long Delaware tradition requires us to work together as partners with local congregations as we recruit and select ordained leaders. I could not do this without the expertise and gifts of Gary Rowe, the members of our elected standing committee, transition consultants, interim clergy, and especially our search committees and vestry leaders. You're the unsung heroes of this ministry. You deserve our thanks. And I especially admire the way that you are expanding the variety and diversity among our ordained leadership. This is a blessing for us today, an important witness, and a gift for the future. At our last convention, I spoke to you in an honest way about my concern for the fair share system that guides congregational financial support for diocesan ministries. Our system here, like so many other things in our small state, is unique to Delaware. What do we always tell people? It's a Delaware thing. Our system is completely voluntary. There are no complicated rules, stringent requirements, or dire consequences. That is not our way. And the fair share system has worked well because it depends upon goodwill, mutual respect, and a strong commitment to the common good. And because of your support, so many good things are happening. Your response over this year has been impressive. Impressive. I am grateful today. I will always be grateful for this blessing. As our treasurer, Roby Roberson, will tell you in a few minutes, giving from our congregations has increased 6.7% this year. That's significant. 21 of our congregations have increased their percentage or are either committed to working toward making that increase. That's significant. It is also a positive sign of hope for the future. Our unity and our vitality depend upon this common commitment. They do. Made in a spirit of goodwill. This year, your generosity will allow us to fulfill our mission, fund much-needed program reserves, and to fulfill our commitment as a diocese to the Episcopal Church. I am very happy to know that when our elected deputies go to this year's General Convention, they will go knowing that the Diocese of Delaware gives its full fair share to support the mission and ministry of the Episcopal Church. Our presiding bishop, on her recent visit to Delaware, reminded us of our long-standing commitment to support our church. We're grateful for her steady, faithful, hopeful leadership over these 9 years. And I've appreciated the time that she took to be with us. It has been a blessing for all of us to serve with her. And you should also know that our General Convention deputies from Delaware will be taking very significant leadership roles at this General Convention, which continues another long Delaware tradition. While she was here, the presiding bishop reminded us that what we call the new prayer book and the new hymnal are really not that new. Only Episcopalians. Now there is a growing awareness that our common worship as a church, and the language of our worship, can be enriched, and that the mission of our church will be strengthened by developing options for more contemporary and inclusive language in our worship and in our music. It's time, I believe, for us to explore these fresh expressions of the Spirit. I think it's time. This, of course, is not something that the Diocese of Delaware can do on its own. But at important times in the past, here in Delaware, we have been a resource for the larger church. Later this year, I intend to appoint a diocesan committee to consider how best to move forward as we engage this opportunity. And at the General Convention, I intend to advocate for this work to begin now. I think it's time. I think there's a real compelling opportunity for renewal. Taking a look at the world around us, sadly, tragically, we are living in an era of growing polarization, locally, nationally, and internationally. We see this polarization increasing in economic and social inequality, the decreasing quality and weakness of public institutions, and in continuing high levels of unemployment and underutilization of the gifts that God has given to men and women and children, and to the rising levels of violence in our cities and in our communities. We also hear this polarization in the rabid and demagogic rhetoric that seeks to blame those who are suffering for their own plight. No doubt, some of this polarization is generated by fear. Fear of others, whether of differing faith traditions, immigrants, economic, geographic, and cultural. We have forgotten or have decided to ignore the simple gospel mandate to love your neighbor. We have forgotten our commitment to a common good founded upon equal rights and equal access to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Churches cannot and should not believe that we can change this on our own. But as people of faith, we do have a fundamental baptismal covenant to respect the dignity of every person. We know what it means as people of faith to rebuild and repair broken down walls. We believe that there is a living spiritual power greater than ourselves, whose will and purpose it is to forgive, heal, and restore all things in the image of Christ. We have seen the star of his appearing, and we are a people of hope. The needed change can begin by finding a humane common good based on openness and respect. I applaud the leadership and work of teaching and initiating dialogue that is being done in our diocese by the PAC committee. Thank you for your witness and leadership. If you have not participated in one of these teaching events, I hope that you will. It is a powerful, hopeful, transformative event, giving us both the perspective and the tools to make a difference. I also applaud and support all those in our churches and in our communities and around the world who are working to make a difference, to be a witness, to become instruments of God's peace. And I am with you in this. So, today I end my remarks as I began. This is the day which the Lord hath made. This is the field that the sower has planted. Already the field is ripe for the harvest. God has given us one more good year. Let us use it well. Amen.